Welcome back to the channel everyone, and today I'm going to be going over the storyline of the character Dr. Monty from the Black Ops storyline. If you enjoy Call of Duty content, then make sure to like and subscribe, and if you haven't seen my playlist yet, I did Black Ops 1, Black Ops 2, Black Ops 3, Black Ops 4 maps, and I previously just did Dr. Maxis from the storyline too. So let's just get into the storyline. Oh, and before we start, I think that Dr. Monty is one of my favourite characters in the Black Ops storyline. But enough of that, let's get into the storyline. Let's go. Monty, like his Keeper brethren, existed since the very beginning of the universe. Not much is known about his history other than that he used to have one person he considered his best friend. That person would be later corrupted by the Dark Aether and to be known as the Shadow Man. In a desperate attempt to save his friend, Monty too became corrupted by the Dark Aether. After a war breaks out, the Shadow Man and the rest of the corrupted Keepers were banished to the Dark Aether, where they would eventually mutate into Apothegons. Monty and the Keepers took up the mantle of Guardians of the Universe, watching from the Aether and only interfering when the universe is in state of imbalance. On October 28, 1945, upon the teleportation of four individuals, Edward Richtofen, Tank Dempsey, Takeo Masaki and Nikolai Belensky, otherwise known as Ultimus, the universe began to show instability. Due to Monty being unable to directly interfere, violating humans' free will, he offered indirect support through little nudges such as assisting Group 935 in producing special elixirs that would be later known as Perca-Colas, and adding chalk outlines for weapons all around. Despite his claim of only giving little nudges, he would later influence the German scientist Ludwig Maxis to create the teleporter, as an engraving on his NTD prototype says, "For M, who started me on this journey." It wasn't until the arrival of a drone carrying a human brain at Agartha that forced Monty to take a different measure. Using his power, Monty created a physical body for Maxis, resembling that his own in Dimension 63, and allowed him to reside at the house in Agartha. Following Maxis pulling Samantha's Maxis soul from the original timeline after the events in Moon, the Maxis of this dimension is wiped out from existence. However, realizing that Samantha had been corrupted by the Dark Aether as well, he was forced to separate the father-daughter pair. Monty takes her away from the house and returned her to him later after cleansing her soul and restoring her innocence. Monty then informs Maxis that the only way to save everyone at this point would be to separate Agartha from the rest of the multiverse. Seeing it from Apothecon influence, he tells Maxis to instruct Richtofen to find the Chronorium, a book which contains the location of an artifact called the Summoning Key, which can collect and store souls that survive the fracturing of the universe. Maxis follows Monty's instructions as he tells Richtofen that the test subjects must never be allowed to be awakened, and later teleports him to the house, initiating Primus Richtofen's journey. After having Primus Richtofen retrieve the key from Morgue City in Dimension 63, Monty then accepts an innocent Richtofen soul named Eddie from Dimension 2210 into the house. He introduces Eddie to Samantha and provided them toys to play with, comprising of various zombies characters. He would keep a close watch on Richtofen later on due to a sense of mistrust and the nature of himself and his companions. After sends the souls to the house, Monty introduces himself by only speaking to Dempsey, Nikolai and Takeo, believing that Richtofen is doing his own thing. He explained to them that he is suspicious of Richtofen's plans and tells them that everything will make sense once they reach the house. He also attempts to explain his role in shaping up the universe and his nudges. Primus would then return to the house where they destroy the teleporter and seal Agartha off from the rest of the multiverse. However, Maxis would eventually be manipulated into accidentally releasing the Shadow Man from the key, while Monty tries to hold the dimension together due to the Apothegon's invasion. Primus would then try to find a way to defeat the Shadow Man. Monty tries to reach out to Primus, telling them of the story behind the Keeper and Apothegon conflict. As well as the difficulty of this role, eventually with the help of Sophia, Primus defeats the Shadow Man and the Apothegons are banished once more. but the summoning key contains Maxis and the children lost deep in space. As Monty begins to ponder the future of his perfect world, he finds that Primus somehow remains alive, rather than disappearing from existence. He discovered that the four of them have consumed blood of souls that came from closed dimensions, thus causing a paradox. He contemplates wiping them out of existence as well, but then realizing that the better option would be to send them back to medieval time to assist the Keepers in the Great War, effectively solving the paradox and complete the cycle of the universe. At some point, as seen within Zombies Chronicles, Monty begins to watch over Ultimus and Primus once more, this time laying out recordings of himself taking about the events that transpired at the locations that both crews once visited in the previous cycles. In truth, Monty's plan was revealed to never have been saving the universe, as Maxis found out. Humanity was doomed to relive the cycle over and over the moment Element 115 was discovered. The only way to truly save it was to purge 115 from existence, before humans could ever find it. However, Maxis suspected that doing so would negatively impact Monty, thus explaining why he never chose to do this and would rather perpetrate the cycle. When Primus manages to break free of the cycle during their time at Alcatraz, the group's plan changed from securing all the souls to defeating Monty. While they and their Ultimus counterparts work together to retrieve an elemental shard, per Primus Richtofen's instructions, Monty begins to suspect something is off. Maxis attempts to contact Richtofen, informing him of Monty's true plan. After Primus and Ultimus acquire the shard, Maxis finally reaches them, warning them of Monty's awareness of their plan. Monty, now realizing the truth, turns into the true form and devours Maxis, but not before he manages to teleport Samantha and Eddie away. At Camp Edward, Samantha reveals her intentions to kill Monty and destroy Agatha. After awakening Victus, Ultimus Richtofen informs Sturlinger of Monty, which Sturlinger asked if he is a bad guy. It is revealed through a radio log recorded by Pablo Marinas that the cycle is the only thing keeping Monty alive. Shortly after escorting the Agathan device across the facility, Victus overhears a conversation held by Ultimus and Primus, describing the duality of Monty and the Shadow Man. Primus Nikolai points out the fact that the two are more similar than they are different, as both are corrupted by the Dark Aether. It is at this point that Nikolai reveals that Monty was corrupted by the Dark Aether, attempting to save the Shadow Man. Almost immediately after, Ultimus and Primus are killed off and the summoning key is destroyed, plunging Monty and Agatha into the Dark Aether forever. If you enjoyed that little Dr. Monty storyline, because I certainly did, then make sure to like and subscribe and check out my playlist with my other videos in. I would greatly appreciate it if you did, and I'll see you guys on the next one. And if you want a chance of having a shout out, then just comment down below and make sure to subscribe. But for now, goodbye.